August 20, 2011. The Boeing 737-200 airliner of First Air operated the domestic cargo passenger charter flight FAB 6560 on the Yellowknife Resolute route. There were 11 passengers and 4 crew members on board. The airliner took off from Yellowknife at 9:40. During the route, the crew received a weather forecast, according to which the weather at the arrival airport was expected to worsen, low cloud cover and dense fog. However, the crew did not change the airport of arrival and continued the flight according to the planned route. The flight to Resolute Airport was uneventful and the crew began to descend for the approach. At that time, there was heavy fog at the airport, due to which the landing was carried out on autopilot using the ILS course glide path system. At 11:38 a.m., the aircraft made its last turn to line up with runway number 35 at Resolute Airport, at which time flight 6560 was 11 miles from the runway. However, when descending through the clouds, instead of following the localizer signal, the aircraft took a trajectory parallel to the trajectory of the runway, and east of its center line. At 11:40 a.m., the GPWS alarm sync rate sounded in the cockpit. This signal indicates that the vertical speed is too high. The co-pilot asked the captain to stop landing. However, only after 1 minute the captain announced his decision to go to the second round. At 11:41 p.m., as the crew began performing go-around actions, Flight 6560 crashed into a hill at 396 feet above sea level on approach to Resolute Airport, 1 mile east of the runway. From the impact on the hill, the liner completely collapsed and burned out, only the tail section relatively survived. The impact killed both pilots, 2 flight attendants and 8 passengers. 3 passengers survived with severe injuries. A few minutes later, the Canadian Armed Forces arrived at the crash site, which at that time was temporarily stationed at the airport. The military, just working out the scenario of a major plane crash as part of the exercises, they were able to quickly provide assistance to 3 surviving passengers. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada, TSBC, is investigating the causes of the crash of Flight 6560. According to the report, the cause of the crash was a collision with the ground in controlled flight. 2 seconds before the crash, the crew interrupted landing preparations and tried to go around. At this point, the pilots had already completed the checklist, the flaps were extended to 40 degrees, the aircraft's speed was 157 knots, the landing gear was extended and locked, and both engines were running at flight idle. The aircraft followed the course glide path system, ILS. The investigation showed that the airport's course and glide path system was operating normally and was in fact being used by another aircraft that landed successfully 20 minutes after Flight 6560 crashed. In March 2014, TSBC issued a final report on the accident. It was found that the decision to begin descent from level was belated, and this resulted in a significant increase in crew workload, which affected subsequent performance and the ability to track all parameters correctly. The approach to the airport was entirely on autopilot, which was correctly set up to acquire the localizer signal and track along the runway center line, VOR/LOC acquisition mode. However, inadvertent movement of the steering column by the captain during a turn to the final approach line caused the autopilot to exit VOR/LOC and return to current heading, causing the aircraft to deviate to the right, east of the center line. Runway. The deviation was correctly displayed on the indicator of the onboard localizer. However, for undetermined reasons, the compass system was incorrectly set during the initial descent so that it showed a heading that was 8 degrees to the left of the actual heading. In addition, the captain did not recalibrate the compass after the initial descent, although regular calibration is necessary due to the proximity to the magnetic North Pole. The effect of which further increased the initial calibration error to 17 degrees, giving the captain the false impression that the aircraft was heading towards the center line of the runway. In fact, the plane was flying parallel to the runway, and the wind from the southwest was pushing it further east. With a significantly increased load, none of the pilots noticed a partial disengagement of the autopilot. The co-pilot called the captain's attention to a possible course deviation 18 times, but the captain did not react. After the Ground Proximity Warning System (GPWS) issued a sink rate warning, the co-pilot requested a go-around. However, the captain hesitated to make a decision and began to take active steps to climb too late to avoid a collision with the ground.